This is Hustle and Pro with Kelly Walker. Join Kelly as she talks sports with players, coaches, organizers, and entrepreneurs from Pee Wee League to Pro. Now here's your host, Kelly Walker.
Today on Hustle and Pro, we have Noah Westerfield joining us. Noah's a former Frisco student athlete and now works in sports here in Frisco. How are you today, Noah?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm great. I'm excited to learn a little bit about your story. So first, I want to learn some quick favorites about you. Who would you say your favorite team is of all time?
Favorite team, New Orleans Saints.
Oh, no.
Until I died. New Orleans Saints coming up
gosh.
this Sunday night, 7 p.m. is going in.
I know.
We're going in. It's going to be in New Orleans.
Well,
it's going to be in the Big Easy. We're ready.
This podcast will air after that Cowboys-New Orleans game, so I'm going to go ahead now and call a Cowboys win.
Ooh.
I know.
You going to put money on it?
No, because I don't know as much about it as you, since you're a football guy, but, I mean, I'm going to say my Cowboys are going to win.
Yeah, root for the home team. I got you.
So we'll see. We'll see. If not, I'm going to cut this section out.
Okay.
So nobody will ever even know about it.
I got you.
What about your favorite all-time athlete?
All-time athlete, it would have to be Joe Horn, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Back a few years ago, a guy that not many people talk about for what he did for the city of New Orleans and everything, kind of getting that program back, back in the right way. So, his quarterback was Aaron Brooks, running back was Deuce McAllister. A lot of really, great guys that could play the game at a high level, but just weren't able to really succeed just due to the situation as far as football. I mean, they were last in the NFC North. I mean, they were, the laughing stock.
When was this?
And that was like 2004, 2005, 2006.
Okay.
So right before, we made that jump with Drew Brees.
Okay, I was going to say, before Brees.
Exactly. So like Deuce McAllister, I mean, that's a guy, running back, great running back also. I mean, they were all in that era right before Drew Brees came and when Aaron Brooks was kind of leading the ship, and it just wasn't, it just didn't look good. It just didn't look good, but I was a diehard fan though.
But he's your favorite, so something looks good.
Joe Horn. Yeah, he scored a touchdown back in, I think it was 2005, and he had his phone in the upright. He pulled the phone out and made a phone call to his mom, and that was a moment where I was like, I want to be able to call my mom in the big game. It was one of those situations.
See, the name didn't sound familiar to me personally, but now that you say that, I gotcha.
Yeah, Joe Horn.
So, what's your favorite sport to play?
Definitely basketball. Basketball, yeah. I grew up, I didn't start playing football until I was in 4th grade. I hated football when I first started. I was a big, clumsy, really soft, nice kid that, everybody kind of pushed around. I was real soft. I didn't like football, so basketball, I was a hooper since I was 4. My brothers and sisters all play basketball, and I was always naturally really good at basketball, so I love playing. So, so football's sort of like a secondary, as far as loving to play.
You surprised me, because we're going to talk about football today.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe we need to switch gears and talk about basketball instead. So then what's your favorite sport when you choose to watch on TV? What's your favorite there?
Favorite sport to watch on TV? Tennis.
What?
Tennis for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Tennis for sure. I mean, it's just so exciting. It's so cool. I mean, I just love watching the game. I mean, I do enjoy watching football. I do enjoy, watching basketball, but I've been, I played those for so long. I mean, it's sort of like that athlete burnout, concept as far as, you're in something so long, you're so invested in something that it becomes work at, a certain point.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say tennis because I tried to play tennis after watching Serena and I'm absolutely terrible.
It's harder than it looks.
Exactly. So I think it's like I have so much like, just like admiration for just watching them play.
Yeah. It's fun to watch. What's the farthest you've ever traveled to maybe play sports or to go watch sports?
Sydney, Australia, back in 2016 for the Sydney Cup with my, Go Bears, Cal Bears and everything. We went and played Hawaii down in Sydney, Australia. So that was a 13-hour plane trip and the longest I've ever been in a plane over, the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it was one of those things where I was just, it's a little too much, but I mean, it was a really cool experience.
Any sports superstitions when you were a player?
Yeah,
that you had to do, or else it just
wouldn't
the game
work.
wasn't going to go right.
I would definitely say crack my fingers before every single play.
Before every play?
Every single play, I would crack my fingers.
That's a lot of cracking.
That's a lot of cracking, yeah. But I'll probably have something wrong. I'm probably arthritis in my fingers when I'm older. But yeah, cracking my fingers before every single one of them, before every single play.
Just to be ready?
Like just to be ready. And it was more of like a nervous thing. It was more of a nervous tip that I would just kind of just boom, 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 every single play. And my coach was like, dude, why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I've done it since I was 5 years old. So,
More like a habit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more of a habit.
Let's rewind to your Frisco playing days when you were littler. So we've heard you play basketball and football. You've probably maybe played some other stuff. So So are you from around here originally, and what sports did you play when you were littler, that kind of thing?
Of course, yeah. So I moved here when I was 5 years old from Memphis, Tennessee. All my family's from Chicago, but we all kind of moved to Texas, when I was younger. But, so sport-wise, I played basketball since I was 4 years old. I've always loved basketball. But football I got into when I was in fourth grade. And like I said before, I wasn't that good. I was kind of the bigger, soft kid. And my first year I played with the Eagles. So guys like Kelly Cordova, you may remember, he was a big-time player out in Frisco. He went to Kansas Westland. So he was one of my teammates, good friends. We were absolutely terrible. We were not good at all. And he was everybody get the ball to Kelly. That was the game plan. And Noah, you just kind of stand over. I K-switch shoes. I didn't have cleats yet. It was one of those situations where my parents just weren't prepared for football.
Yeah.
They just knew about basketball, but football, it was more so, okay, just go out there and try to have fun. And then fifth grade, I started playing with the Longhorns. So that's Jake Reed's team. So, his son plays for Georgia now. He's doing, really big things. So luckily, I got a good coach. I got under him, and he kind of, helped me realize how big I was and, how strong I was and how smart I was. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can, get this football thing, a chance. So, so it was a really good experience with them. I won co-defensive player of the year my second year playing football. And then from there, it just took off because I, realized my size,
What is your size?
My size. So right now I'm actually 6'3", 232. So that was my last weigh-in about 2 days ago in height and everything. But playing days. Back in at Cal I was as big as 265, and then back at SMU this past fall season I was 253.
When I said, what's your size, I can't believe I asked you and you answered. I would never ask a woman, what's your size? How much do you weigh?
That's something football
I meant playing days, but I'm glad you answered both. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Definitely. That was a serious question, I thought.
No, it was. I just meant what was your playing size? But I love it. It's not like you're that far out of playing anyways. You're still...
Yeah, definitely. It's only a few months now, so...
So, you mentioned you got Defensive Player of the Year second year playing. So you focus on football as you're going into middle and high school? Is that all you did?
No. So actually I played with Darren Williams Elite. I played with Team Texas. I played with a lot of AAU basketball teams all the way to my sophomore year in high school.
Oh, so basketball stayed with you
so basketball,
into
football,
high school.
Yeah. Football in Texas is very run by the state, so it's all school stuff. So you don't really have as many select or travel football teams. I did play with the GA Giants, so with Jamal Adams with them, but that was only in 6th grade and 7th grade. But really basketball, I played AAU travel basketball all the way up till I was in 10th grade. But football was more so of a school thing.
Was there a time when you had to choose?
Never really a time where I had to choose. Marty C. Cordova at Wakeland, he tried to make me think that my freshman year. I love you, Coach. But, he was always like, come on, man, you're a football player. You're a football player. Stop messing with basketball. You're a football player. And, of course, any football coach is going to tell you that.
Right.
But, I was always athletic enough to play both, and I was always healthy enough to play both. So, I was like, why should I make a decision? And I played basketball all the way to my senior year. Shout out to Coach Benningfield. He's over at Heritage Coyotes now. I don't know why he's over there. but it was a great experience playing both all the way to my senior year.
Did you ever consider trying to be a two-sport athlete in college?
I did. So I did have some offers coming out of high school to play both, but my body just wasn't going to
That's tough to make that work. There's only a few that can pull that off, and those are two really physical sports.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
So you headed over to Cal.
Cal, yes.
To play football.
Mm-hmm.
And so when did you know that was happening?
So I was actually committed to Northwestern up in Chicago to go play with my family, just around them. I was committed for 7 months there. And I remember I went up for my official visit in December. And, December in Chicago is...
fun.
It's not fun, exactly. So, went there for my official visit. I'm accustomed to the cold and everything, but I guess being up there and going through things as far as being a football player and kind of walking around campus and kind of moving around with friends and everything, it just was, wasn't something that I was used to, and I thought I was going to be used to it. So after I got home, I was like, you know what, Mom and Dad, this might be something I want to reconsider. Mm-hmm. And I always had Cal and some, other West Coast schools kind of knocking on the door, and they were always kind of calling me towards the end of, it was it was about 2 weeks away from signing day, and they were like, hey, you want to come on an official visit? And I was like,
oh, wow. So it was down to the last, for signing days. It's not you couldn't have gone after.
Exactly.
That sunny California got you then.
Exactly. And, Coach Dykes and his staff, he's from Texas originally, with Spike and them. So, it was a natural connection just with the staff from, being from Texas and wanting to get guys from Texas. So they were, just in the area, really tough. So I felt like a really good, connection with the coaching staff.
Did you make the right decision?
Oh yeah. I love Berkeley, California. Yeah, it was a great time. A lot of people here might say, well, Berkeley, California, well, that's kind of, out there a little left, but I had probably the best experience you possibly could have. I mean, of course, it was some, goods and bads, but I had a really good college experience.
You ended up back here in Texas, though.
Yes,
finishing up, playing another year.
Yes.
For the SMU Mustangs.
Yeah, pony up.
What brought you back here then?
So actually, I redshirted my senior year because I had a foot injury after the UCLA game my junior year. So redshirted that last season at Cal, and then we had a new coaching staff come in with Justin Wilcox, 4-0 Go Bears. But actually redshirted and had a conversation with the coaching staff and everything as far as like where I was in the depth chart, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to transfer. Maybe it's time to do what's better for me. And we had a whole system change and everything too. So I was kind of better equipped for the SMU staff. So after that, Coach Dykes was over at TCU. Then he got hired as the SMU head coach around the bowl game. It was about 2 weeks before the bowl game.
Oh yeah.
And from there, he called me up, and I was like, "Hey, Coach, what's up?" He's like, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So came back home. I'm from Frisco originally, so it's only 30 minutes down south, and it just worked out perfectly.
What'd you go to school for?
So undergrad, I did environmental sciences, so data science, and then in my grad, I did sport management. So I just graduated about 2 weeks ago after I finished my internship.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that fresh.
Yeah,
congrats.
It was super fresh. Well, I graduated, quote unquote, back in May, but my, like actual paperwork and paper came through, just
official.
Official.
To make it official.
Exactly.
So what about those ponies? How are they looking right now?
Oh, they're looking great
Good,
right now. They're looking real. We just beat TCU, coming off a real high, but it's week to week. It's 0-0 right now. Going into that game. Who do we have? Tulsa, I believe, this week. So going into that week, I think my guys, Delonte Scott, Richard Moore will be back. That transfer from Texas, Shane, I don't really know him personally, but great guy, and I think Dykes is going to get him right. So I think we might go undefeated this season. So I'm feeling good.
Where are you watching your ponies play right now? Are you there? Excuse me. Are you there, or are you home with friends? Are you out?
Home with friends. And usually, at my job, I actually close on the weekends. So usually, I'm at Fieldhouse USA, kind of watching them on my screen, like not working. I'm kind of like just pushing away all my responsibilities at work and running to the TV and watching that.
Don't tell your boss that.
Oh no, he's the one who put the game on for me. Okay. He's like, man, go over there and watch the game.
Well, I mean, Fieldhouse is a good place to watch. There's a million TV screens in there.
TVs, and there's only like 2 games on, which we need to fix. But that's something we'll work on though.
Will you get to go to home games though?
Yeah, so I'm planning to go, I forgot which game. It's not Cincinnati. It's one of the other ones in later October that I'm planning to go to, but I'm going to bring some of the kids that I train out there with me and going to have a little field trip and kind of, introduce them to the guys and the coaching staff and everything, so I'm really excited about that.
Let's talk about that. So you were a sports science,
Sport management.
Okay, sport management, sorry. Yes. Data science, sport management. Yeah. Got those two confused.
No, you're good.
And you have started a business involving football. Is it just football or is it all sports training?
So right now it is all sports, but right now we're really just focused on football just because, that's what I played and that's what I kind of know and, something that I feel really good about. Right now I did open up, coordination training for all sports, so volleyball, lacrosse, basketball, everything that's kind of like, all incorporated. But right now all the guys I'm really training, it's probably about 95% football. Guys. Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on, like, how are you preparing kids, or is it all just physical training, or are you kind of talking other, mindset and coachability and those kinds of things too?
Definitely, yeah. So our method is eyes, hands, and feet. So that's like actually, how we kind of train them just, starting off first day with me. So eyes, you have to be able to see where you're going, right? Feet, they're really important because they help you get to where you're seeing, right? And then hands actually, finishing the move, finishing whatever you have to do. So that's kind of our method right there. And then, honestly, it has to be 50-50 physical and mental, because a lot of my guys want to play safety positions, want to play quarterback, want to play receivers, and these are those high intellect positions. Same with defensive line and offensive line, but every position in football is high intellect, so you have to understand what you're doing, because guess what? If you don't, somebody else will, or you're going to screw up in a really big place.
Right.
So one thing that I always kind of tell my guys is we have to have the IQ part of it. We have to have the football knowledge part of it, and that's how I kind of train. That's like a big, probably the biggest part of my training is the IQ part of it, and developing, how you're supposed to see things in the future, not right now, right? Because let's say we have 11 guys in the football field, like nobody's moving, right now. After I say hut, everybody's going to be moving, doing different things. You have to understand how everything works together. So
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
I've never played football.
Yeah, no.
Minus powder puff in high school, but
exactly. And even there, you got to know something, right?
Not really. But I've never thought about that way. I just assumed, training training business kids that you're like, y'all are just doing reps and workouts.
Yeah, yeah. And, I think a lot of people think that and kind of come into it thinking, okay, just hop on the ladders. I'm going to throw you the ball, run as fast as you can.
Which you can do anywhere.
Which you can do anywher. So really what separates us from, everybody else and all these other coaches who are charging these, exuberant, amounts of money is actually teaching them, hey, man, like, I want to teach you football. At its most basic level, I want to teach you football because I love football so much, and I was, blessed enough to understand and come from, Marty Secord's program at Wakeland, where he actually taught us football, and then going to Cal with Sonny Dykes and being with Wilcox, so one of probably the best defensive minds in football right now. I was blessed to be with him for a year, and then even coming back with Dykes' staff and being with Randall Joyner. I mean, these guys were all high IQ, high just intellect guys, and it was just, I was really blessed, and I was really lucky to kind of have these guys around me because now it's like, coaching just comes naturally. Because if you asked me 5 years ago to go out there and coach a kid, I would have just kind of fell on my knees and be like, help, please, somebody.
But you got such good coaching.
Definitely. And
obviously you absorbed it.
Exactly.
And so you're using it.
Exactly.
And sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing that with others. I think I read something, probably you tweeted, that said about being coachable, being correctable.
Yes.
So do you talk to your kids about that mindset? That, you know what, you may be what you think
Exactly.
you are, all that, but you got to be flexible, right?
And let me tell you about this guy named Grayson Gordon. So this guy, his dad, big wig, great guy. He works, I think he works in insurance, or his dad makes a lot of money, right? He lives in Frisco, Texas. And, his dad kind of reaches out to me, through email. He's like, hey, my kid can do this, he can do that. And I'm just kind of reading the email like, okay, he's good. He'll be solid. And he came to my first day of training, and you can tell this kid had so much confidence. This kid had it all. He had the smile, he had the laugh, he had the movements, he had everything. But on my first drill, he wasn't listening. And I'm like, come on, man, like, you have every gift available. You have every gift. A lot of gifts that I didn't even have. You have everything, but guess what you don't have right now? The mind. You don't have the mindset right. You don't have the mindset. And being correctable, why I say that is people always say coachable, be coachable, be coachable. What does that really mean? It's all about being correctable, right? So if I'm telling you your mistake, do you have enough, aptitude to know what you're doing wrong and then be able to fix it the way I'm telling you to fix it? Because I'm not going to give you the wrong way to do it. I'm going to give you the right way to do it. So with that example right there, that's a kid who had every physical talent. I mean, just so many things going for him. He's going to be a great player in the future. I go to this game on Saturday. I mean, he had 2 pick sixes, a great kid, just great family and everything. But that mindset, that's the one thing that can kind of deviate him from what he wants.
But that's the first step. He's got the skills. So the mind you can fix, too.
Yeah.
You can, he just has to flip a switch and be willing to be correctable.
Exactly.
But some of that's vulnerability, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you say you're the coach, like you said, you're not going to tell them the wrong way to do it.
Exactly.
But you have to put yourself out there to be the athlete that tries it. It's going to feel weird. You might, fall in whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
And look stupid. Do it wrong a few times, whatever it is. And you thought you were doing it perfect, and then your coach is telling you, change it up.
Exactly.
And it's going to be awkward. So that's probably hard for your young athletes to be willing to do.
And kind of going off of that, I mean, this kid, guess what? The way you're doing it right now, it's wrong, but guess what? You're going to get past and beat everybody else around you just because you're bigger and faster and stronger than right now. But guess what? When they get better technique, when, 3-4 years down the line, then you're going to get beat. Because right now, all the bad technique and everything can go past. Like
you still get through it.
Yeah, exactly. But then, once you get older and then, once everybody catches up to you, that's where it sets you apart. So.
Yeah, you got to have all the other stuff to back it up.
Exactly.
So what's your business called?
That's Game Sports.
That's Game Sports.
That's Game Sports.
But then you also spend time at Fieldhouse, like you said.
I
do. You deal with football camps there?
Yeah. So flag football camps, well, actually just football camps. So we actually have flag football leagues and everything. But yeah, football camps and then front desk staff and then, parties, everything else runs. I'm sorry about that. But everything that kind of runs, the Fieldhouse. But really my focus areas is the football camp.
Yeah. And for those of us who don't know Fieldhouse USA, now I shouldn't have said us. Yeah. I am very familiar with Fieldhouse. I mean, I'm a sports parent, so I feel like I've spent lots of time at Fieldhouse.
I think we all spend way too much time there.
I've got kids that have played, let's see, I've had cheerleaders come through there and volleyball players and basketball, and that's just one kid. And lacrosse. I was there this weekend for lacrosse.
Yeah.
Indoor on the turf.
We did camp this weekend.
No, like her lacrosse league actually played their games there Sunday night.
I thought it was a camp. Okay, so it was a league.
Frisco Fury is playing indoor in the fall there, to avoid some rain out situations.
Understandable.
Lacrosse is over there in the turf. And then other kid plays basketball there, and that might be it for him, basketball there. And then my husband plays soccer on the turf there every now and then when he rotates around from other indoor sports facilities. But gosh, I don't think I've personally had any sports activities inside Fieldhouse, but I've done my fair share of sitting in the bleachers.
Definitely.
Watching and listening to all those dang whistles.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on in there.
We got 8 courts. You know, we have 7 other counts. We have Exos in there. We have Dallas Patriots, Cheer Athletics. I mean, it's just, it's too much. You know, you walk in, and I think for me, I kind of take it all out, and I kind of like, you know, put the earphones on. But other people walk in, it's just so much going on. I'm like, this is a normal day, man.
Right.
This is a regular day.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm used to it now. I'm kind of, you know, getting numb to it. Except when I'm like into watching a kid's basketball game and I hear a whistle on the next court and I swear it was on my court.
You're over here. Hey.
Yeah. But anyway, I love it because Fieldhouse is so Frisco.
Yeah.
Like, it's so.
It really is. It really is.
The saying a lot. Like, that's a loaded thing, Frisco, with sports. But and I love sports and I love Frisco. But there's a lot of powerfully emotionally charged parents and kids in there.
It's too much sometimes.
It's
too much sometimes.
Sometimes they need to rein it in and get back to the realization that these are children playing sports. Let them have a little bit of fun and chill out a little bit. Yeah. So cool. Well, thank you for taking your time out today. I know you hopped over here. We're just a skip away from Fieldhouse. You probably could have walked over here to our studio.
Yeah, well, not in Texas, but anywhere else I could have. Yeah.
Right. Not in this summer feeling heat in Texas. Yeah. But I appreciate you taking the time and learning your story. So I didn't know all about your basketball and football background, so I'm glad to know it. And next time you guys are in Fieldhouse, say hello to Noah Westerfield.
Please do. Thank you so much for having me.